Artificial intelligence is taking humans to places we couldn't go before. That's what makes this the age of width. The next question is, where can humans take AI? AI is an ecosystem we all contribute to and benefit from. The next important insight could come from anywhere. And with so much happening so fast, this ecosystem needs a focal point. We created the Global Deloitte AI Institute to answer that need. What role can AI play in my business? How can we use AI in trustworthy and ethical ways? Why isn't there more diversity in the AI workforce? How does my AI career start? And where is AI going next? The Deloitte AI Institute is leading the global conversation on AI. We are connecting businesses, universities, think tanks, policymakers, and startups. We are highlighting today's visionaries, data scientists, and emerging trendsetters. From the boardroom to the college lab, the Deloitte AI Institute is bringing forth insights and using our deep knowledge of all aspects of AI to make sense of this complex ecosystem, cutting through all the hype and providing insights to help enterprises make informed AI decisions. I'm Beena Amanat. I'm the Executive Director at the Deloitte AI Institute, where we are not just preparing to meet the AI future, we are shaping it together. Join me online to find out more.
Hello and welcome. Thanks everyone for joining. We've got a great session today planned for you. My name is Jim Rowan. I'm a principal at Deloitte and leader of our strategy and analytics practice. This is part 3 of a 3-part series we've been running talking about evergreen value and how organizations can use AI and data to help generate evergreen value. Last time we took a look at how you could transform your organization through cost savings initiatives and how AI and data play a critical role in those activities. We're really excited for today's conversation. We're going to talk about the concept of an AICoE and how it plays a role in driving evergreen value. We've got a great group of attendees in the audience, and so we'll be looking to take your questions and an amazing set of panelists to help facilitate this dialogue today. So without further ado, I want to bring on to the panel here Balaji, who's a managing director at Tyson's, and is going to share with us a little bit about some of his experience. Balaji, over to you.
Hey, Jim, thanks. It's great to be here. I've been here at Tyson for about 5 years now. I lead the enterprise architecture, application development, emerging tech, and process automation teams here. Prior to this, I was leading the data science organization where we were involved in establishing an AICoE and also the key practices and processes around technology stack, as well as how to run AI across the organization. It's great to be here and look forward to the discussion.
Awesome. Thank you, Balaji. And then next, I'd like to bring on Ambo Bose. Ambo, please, over to you.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be in the conversation today. I'm a managing director with Deloitte in AI and data practice with a passion for delivering evergreen value to business, both top-line growth and productivity. We've been working with Balaji for about a year now, and we have a common shared passion in delivering business value. Excited and looking forward to the conversation.
It also sounded like when I talked to you guys, a common shared passion for great coffee too. So we'll maybe we won't cover that in a lot of detail on today's call, but maybe another time. And then I want to bring onto the stage Sangha. Sangha, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Jim. I am Sangha Pati. I lead the AI practice from our India offices, working very closely with Jim, Ambo, and Balaji, and looking forward to a great conversation today.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm really excited to hear about how your backgrounds connect into this topic around AICoEs. We hear so much in the news around AI, conversations around generative AI, how organizations are trying to tackle these challenges. And one of the things I think is so important is thinking about what's the structure, what's the support, what do companies need to do to build and sort of sustain these capabilities over time. So one of the things I'd like just to start with this group with a question, and maybe we could all sort of provide some thoughts on this, is what can and should a mature value generating AI COE look like? What does good really look like? And why do we need something like that? So maybe Balaji, could I turn it to you first to give us some of your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. So great question. So looking at it from a classical people, process, and technology angle, I'll talk about the people side. I think one thing that we've seen on the AICoE is that we need a self-contained product team that delivers value to our businesses, right? So that essentially means that what we found to be successful is having business analysts, data engineers, data scientists, ML engineers, QA and Scrum Masters as part of the entire skill set that encompasses the team. On the process side, we've seen strong Agile and Scrum processes add a lot of value. In addition to this, if we can think about key North Star metrics, KPIs, and essentially how to measure value as we go along has been a great value add as well. Um, on the technology side, I think working together to build a strong and clear technology stack to do ML operations, along with all the encompassing infrastructure needs, that should be a deep focus area. Lastly, I think an integral part of the AICoE has to be education, right? We found that the more we engage with our business partners as well as IT partners on educating them about what AI is and what value AI can bring to the table, that really helps them start thinking about predictive analytics in their day-to-day jobs, which is a good demand shaping avenue as far as AI projects is concerned. So those are 3 points I thought I could bring to the table. I don't know, Amber or Sang, if you guys wanted to add more to this based on your experience. So.
Yeah, I think that's well covered, Balaji. I think the other part that you and I have kind of been on the journey on is where the AI COE is an integral part of the business strategy or the overall strategy and the annual operating plan process, where it's baked in and aligned to business. I think that's where the biggest upsides is what we see in the market. And even across other organizations that I've noticed is a lot of clients are now moving from many flowers bloom and a lot of incubation and experiments to creating scale and delivering value in today's environment. And that lock in with strategy and on that plan across the technical part and the data and analytics part of the organization and the business functions, that common goal makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, I would like to just add that great points. The only other thing I would add, and I'm sure Balaji you would agree, is that a successful AI COE is something which is aligned to core businesses, so that the digital roadmap, the digital big bets, are able to realize the value faster, and AI COE hence can then facilitate the next gen analytics function for the enterprise.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because as far as Amber, our experience goes in interacting with our business partners, as far as AI efforts are concerned, and broadly even analytics efforts are concerned, a large part of the problem is asking the right question of the data, right? So it's just, what do you want to solve, and how do you get to that accurate problem definition and problem statements, right? So we found that engaging with our business partners in these discussions where we help them articulate clear problem definitions has gone a long way in establishing strong product mindset across teams. So
you guys are talking about like specific business functions and sort of areas to dig into too. Are there some, and Amber, sorry, I saw you were about to comment too. Are there some, functions where you feel like this is an easier story or an easier place to start, cultivating use cases to start taking things forward? And Balaji, for you, or I saw Amber was trying to come off mute earlier, so either one.
Yeah, I mean, in general, teams and organizations that are more mature from a data standpoint, that have good systems of record, good data quality, good processes to do what we call enterprise analytics, tend to lend themselves to be easier AI candidates, right? But in organizations that are still working on their foundational data aspects, foundational transaction systems, who have disparate systems of record. Typically, in these type of teams, building an AI mindset takes a little longer. As far as Tyson's concerned, we've seen a lot of success in the supply chain space. We've starting to see some successes in the procurement space, where we are working with them on spend analytics and building recommender engines for common buying patterns across the organization and whatnot. But I guess I will sum that up to data maturity, if you may. And I don't know, Amber or Sangha, if you guys want to add some more to this.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Balaji. Absolutely. We have seen supply chain to be a very ripe forum. Commercial organizations, pricing, sales, and marketing, we have seen quite a bit of that, and also risk. But if you ask me, I would tend to name all the functions, Jim, which are amenable to analytics and AI. But data maturity is one. And second, wherever we see that there is a need for constant insights, which gets embedded into a planning process or a pricing process or something which is embedded into the core business process, there the maturity curve is faster, in my experience.
Yeah, in my experience, I've seen revenue management as one of those areas where growth with profitability is the underpinning, and I've seen clients adopt, and practically if you look at the consumer goods industry, practically everybody's got some level of maturity on how they are running data and analytics led or AI led revenue management, and now aspiring for the next level on process efficiencies with Gen AI, with autonomous contracting and engagements. So that, like Sangha mentioned, on the commercial side, that's a big move forward there. I also see the finance function being fairly open and adaptive. And most organizations, including Tyson, I think they're pretty mature on the way they're adapting, their pick on tools and using that to generate, efficiencies and tracking business and identifying gaps and opportunities. Seen those as real examples. And of course, supply chain. Autonomous planning, for example, has been one big success across.
Yeah, absolutely. I think clearly the more instrumented you are across your data supply chain, the easier it is for you to grab data that you want quickly and be able to throw quick predictive insights onto it, right? So
maybe you guys could share a little bit about, like, how do these AI COEs get started? I mean, does it morph from an analytics COE and become an AI COE? Are they the same in an organization? I'm just curious for those that are listening and they're trying to figure out, I love this, I want this, how do I get started? How to think about that.
Yeah, Balaji, go ahead.
Oh, no, Ambo. I can talk about our experience. I think we work with Ambo and team to take a deeper look at what problem it is we want to solve. How do we bring AI into the enterprise? What's our current team structure? How are we structured? And how do we build a COE that is not just academic in nature, but also from day one starts talking about business value and really engages with our business teams? So I think to get started, the best thing you do is to get your skills together in one place to start with, right? I mean, if you're a federated organization, data scientists across the board, bring them all together and form one central team would be a starting point. Establish strong business engagement models, even if it has to be a little, intrusive at the beginning. Engage your businesses very deliberately. Communication is an extremely integral aspect to this. We just in Tyson are in the midst of what we call an AI for everyone program, right? It's an instructor-led 4-week self-paced AI learning program that we've launched, and it's not just about classes and videos and theory. It's about group discussions where we encourage participants to actually come out with predictive problems in their respective areas. So these are a few things that have found to bring some success with us as we work with Ambo and team. Amber, do you want to add to this a little more?
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Balaji. I think one is getting the unit together. And I've had some clients talk of the skill mix that Balaji you referred to as a Swiss knife. So engineering, data scientist, UX engineer, that whole skill mix together to create the AI COE. The other thing underpinning this is also, a product-oriented delivery mindset with value realized for business. I think that's the other key factor in the ICO. And then in parallel is the analytics organization, which is basically decision enablement across the organization. And there is a lot of training and data literacy as part of that. The AICoE is truly like creating those products with ML engineering and running those models and helping the businesses realize value. That's, I guess, the differential that we see.
I think there are a couple of threads I'd love to pull on this, and maybe Sangha, could I pull you in on this conversation? As we think about sort of AI skills, you and I have worked closely around this topic. What are you seeing, clients doing around this? Balaji shared what they're doing at Tyson's. What else are you seeing, and maybe share a little bit what some of the things you've been involved with there?
Sure. I think there are multiple maturity levels. The question is, where do I get started? I think normally I have seen that if we just configure the path of least resistance, which is primarily around the existing framework, start with an analytics COE, design the data analytics operating model. Ambo talked about get the team together. So set up the state of operating model, which can immediately promote agility and operational efficiency for the businesses that it supports, whether it is supply chain or pricing or commercial organizations, right? So if you respond to business needs quickly, then the businesses will come more and more to the analytics and the AI COE. And the third is, the data and analytics foundation is important. The AI COE should support technologies that are relevant here and now today, but also should plan for the upcoming areas and technologies so that it is also starting to sort of show the way for the different business functions. So we have done AI COEs for so many different clients across industries, sectors, etc. But I think that these are some of the tenets which have worked where the AI COEs have scaled over time.
That's great. And the other thread I was interested in was this product thread that we were talking about a little bit, and sort of the kind of structure of I guess, structure of the AI COE, some of the operating principles behind it. I mean, maybe Balaji, I don't know, would you mind sort of talking just a little about that product aspect of it? And maybe even just sort of defining for us a little bit of how you think about what a product actually is in this context, and then how you think about that from an operational model, organizational structure perspective.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and that will be a show in itself at some point. But yes, the product structure, and Ambo, please feel free to augment whatever I say here. But when we started off, we said, what's the quickest way we can deliver value to our businesses, right? I mean, is it the classical project structure where it comes through annual operating plans, and then you do the entire rigmarole of SDLC around it? Or do we get agile, fast, quick, iterative, and say we'll build product teams that constantly do demos to see if this fits business teams or not? And if not, we will iterate, right? AI is an emerging discipline, at least as far as Dyson Foods is concerned. So what our businesses want is a quick way to be able to say, is this adding value or not, right? What a focused product team and a Scrum structure on top of it does, it fosters very close and very frequent engagement with our business partners. And it says, okay, are we meeting business needs or not on a very regular, ongoing, iterative basis? We've seen that this thing has evolved over time. It's not something that, you start with a bang and is very successful on day one. It evolves over time. The product team needs to get built. It needs to form, norm, storm. It's a collection of varied skill sets and individuals that have to get together and understand exactly what the common goal and objective is. There's also a significant amount of commitment on our business partners to be able to afford people to be a part of a product team on an ongoing basis. So there's a lot of upfront work to build the product team and some process work to ensure that the product team operates seamlessly. But once it is on a path to delivery with some requirements clearly defined and a definition of done, we see that the velocity builds over time. And we've seen that to be a way to closely engage with the businesses. And what does you asked another question about what does a product look like in the AI scenario? So the way we looked at a product was anything that the business can use and consume at the end of the project effort, if I may, right? So it could be a model, It could be, JSON XML outputs from a model in terms of inferences. It could be a dashboard. It could be anything that business can use and consume at the end of the project for their next set of processes that they want to use predictive outcomes from. So, Amber, you want to add to this a little bit?
Oh, I think you covered it well. And yeah, we tend to call it the MVPs, minimum viable product, as the business has a requirement and we lock in. And I don't know, Balaji, there are a couple of instances where you've delivered so fantastically, be it the optimal chicken number of days you shave off on the chicken line, so it kind of meets one of your top customers' requirements, or indeed creating that MVP where you're optimizing the count of chicken pieces that should be there and using computer vision to kind of count the exact number of chicken pieces, and therefore saving the amount of effort and time that would go into it by doing it through a human-led process. I think those are fantastic examples of product-oriented MVPs, and then taking it up the scale journey, which has some challenges that as we mature and as the businesses mature and tune in, we need to walk through that process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, look, when you're building AI solutions for corporate functions like finance and other areas where it's purely based on data that's available at enterprise level, those things are easier to scale. But if you're building specific CV solutions for one plant, scaling that across hundreds of plants is something that we are still working on. We've done a considerable amount of work in computer vision, building models that we deploy at the edge to count, for object detection, for a ton of other use cases. We're actively working on how to scale these across hundreds of plants as we speak. So, Sangha, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I think the important part about this whole thing is, do we have a clear plan? And you talked about how can it build hundreds of models. It can, and the impact on anything observable, anything measurable, like margins or sales or supply chain or spends, a number of calls in a customer service. So I think the measurable impact is another important thing for the same that you just described.
Yeah. I'd like to also give another example, Jim, if
that would be great.
On this topic.
Yeah.
So with our procurement teams, we are engaged on actively employing AI to see how we can do, what we call cognitive procurement. So the idea here is that we have a multitude of plants that have their own buying patterns, all extremely well-intentioned, but there is a need to establish buying pattern consistency across all our plants. This is found to deliver a significant amount of savings back on the table. So in order to facilitate this, we've engaged with the procurement team, and a product in this case looks like a recommender engine that is AI-based that will help each plant make the right purchasing decisions when they have to buy some indirect procurement indirect materials for procurement. So in that case, a product would be a recommender engine, which is AI-based, which is essentially an application with AI behind it and some interaction mechanisms. So
that's great. I mean, I love the examples. I think they make it very real for people, especially as we start to think about what are the use cases that are getting funded internally, that are getting support, that generate value. And that's really, what we want to try to focus on. We had a couple of questions coming in from the chat too that I wanted to draw our attention to from the group's perspective. One of them is around AICoE misfires. So kind of the lessons learned, maybe where we've stumbled or stubbed our toe along the way and needed to course correct. Sangha, maybe do you want to jump in and share a few things on this?
Yeah. I think, while we always tend to talk about the multiple sources of value that address the challenges, minimize replication of efforts, proliferation of unmanaged data, I think it is important to see where things fail, right? Many a times I have seen where an AICoE is a center but not the excellence, right? Without the excellence, so what goes wrong? I think primarily it is because there is no shared vision across the business units that contribute to and draw from an AICoE. The second big one is the lack of executive sponsorships. So there is no initial overstepping the limiting friction and adopt the AICoE. And many a times the AICoE itself plays a support role. Instead of driving the mainstream AI agenda, it gets relegated into doing something far too ahead of demand or something experimental in nature rather than focusing on what the business needs immediately. And the fourth and most important things, I come back to the measurable part. There are incoherent metrics so that it is very hard to see the contribution of an AICoE to the business units. Once these things happen, we see that the AICoE, falters and hangs around by the sidelines.
That's awesome, Sangha. Thanks, Balaji or Ambo. Any other stories or misfires you'd want to share?
Yeah, I can add, to the exhaustive list that Sangha just articulated. I think I've seen COEs in general fail primarily because they end up being academic exercises, right? Okay, I have a repository, I have all the knowledge, I have all this training, I have all this. I also have some projects, but we've seen lack of business engagement as being a primary driver for COEs to fail. I think having business partners on the table, engaging with them on their problems, and making them see the value of what we do is a big enabler in the success of a COE. So,
yeah, I think good points there. And the one thing I would add is in one of my client engagements, I've seen they are multiple businesses, and then what they wanted to do is centralize and create a best practice. And what they ended up doing was create the center of excellence and a talent group, which kind of got centralized in one location, one geo. And essentially, they had a lot of good practices. They had great literacy programs, but essentially they got kind of boxed into governance predominantly. So what this organization on its journey, and a lot of organizations can relate to this, is they did a lot of experiments. They had a lot of successes, quick learnings, all of that. And then they kind of centralized and created this governance and best practices unit. But then when business is hungry and wanting to do more, they were a little too centralized. I think that's where I've seen, and that organization is working through it, where they want to centralize in a certain way, where the product-oriented delivery could actually support multiple markets with common design patterns and whatnot. But I think that's part of the journey on execution and realizing value where they are at. So that I thought is a good learning ground.
Yeah, those are great. I think hopefully helpful lessons learned for everyone as you think about sort of some of the experiences and always that constant tension in sort of the centralized versus federated models and who has control over some of these decisions, the ability to move fast versus, speed and potential slowness with the center. Yeah, right. Like common struggles, right? It's not been new from an AI perspective. It's a struggle we've been facing for a while in a lot of COE design. So speaking of new, well, I don't even if generative AI is new anymore. I feel like it's something that we've talked about so much. So is it really new? It's now old. But I mean, I'd love to get your perspectives and probably each of you really sort of thinking about, does this advent of a new application of AI and the rapid scaling of it change how an AI COE operates? Or is this kind of course of business, right? We're going to see more changes like this and we need to just be ready for the change. So, or other answers. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on this one too. Maybe Balaji will, it's all right, I'll start with you first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For those that are thinking that AI is new, welcome to Gen AI. This is a really, really interesting topic. So as with probably any organization in this journey right now, there are three dynamics at play with Gen AI right now. All right. One is, wow, this is so interesting and exciting. I've got to know more about it as an organization. Two is about, oh my God, am I slow in this race? Am I missing out on this race? I've got to move fast. And three is it a secure thing? I mean, is it secure? Is it safe? Is my data entrusted? So there's these three dynamics at play, at least in the organizations that I see, read about, and frankly at Tyson. The way we are trying to address it is, I lead the generative AI task force for Tyson, and we are trying to approach this with what we call cautious optimism, right? So we have a ton of use cases. We're trying to see which of them is a really true Gen AI use case, and trying to figure out ways by engaging our security teams, our infrastructure teams, our AI teams, as well as our business partners to see how to go and develop these things, right? Is it like, do we send data outside of our companies? Is that a safe thing to do? Or do we keep all data in-house, in which case we have to train LLMs in-house? It then becomes an issue of, can we afford the compute cost? Is there value and stuff like that? So the task force is trying to work out problems and answers like this. I do, however, see that Gen AI will not obliterate the need for traditional AI use cases. I see Gen AI as augmenting and adding to traditional AI use cases, and we've got a huge amount of interest in Gen AI right now, and we just have to see how the industry spans out, how other CPG companies are handling it, and then play it with what I think is cautious optimism. So
that's all. Oh, that's great. Ambo or Sangha, anything else you guys want to add? What you're seeing?
Yeah, I think this is, like you said, it's in a short span of time. I seem to have done so much of generative AI that I don't think it is new anymore. And it will definitely augment AI. And I don't think you can really compartmentalize AI and generative AI. A business problem we try to solve leveraging generative AI technologies. We do need the traditional AI. It can be a optimization engine. It can be a conversational AI agent. It can be a vision AI program. So that is that. In the context of the AICoE, Jim, what I would like to say is that there's an interesting perspective. I was listening to with a client. There's the paradigm of generative AI is really to democratize AI, right? In that context, what is the role and realm of a generative AI COE? I mean, do you need to centralize generative AI COE? Now, interestingly, with several of our clients who are trying to do POCs, they are moving towards a generative AI COE because the key benefits that they are looking from the COE is how do they foster innovation while managing the risks. I think that is where the generative AI COE, is relevant in the context of the emerging needs.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, it's interesting. It just opens up the next frontier, and not practically every client is looking for the Gen AI use cases because they need to. I mean, some of it is FOMO, but some of it is, of course, you want to get to the front end of it. As I see it, it's the next frontier of creating efficiency. And very often when we land AI, there is the whole thing of enabling it for marketplace execution. And I see that opportunity that Gen AI can kind of tune in and create that marketplace execution with business. So that's one area that I see. The other area that I see is eating our own dog food, because within the AI organization, there is enough to kind of automate, be it through autonomous coding or be it through insights within and generating those or creating those workflows. So it triggers insights which can then go up or get channelized up to the business teams. There are all of those possibilities. But having said that, I mean, Balaji, like you've poked us in the past on this area, how many GPUs to activate, how to think about it, do we work? I mean, if we are looking at working off a foundational model, what are the risks involved? Or if we create our own, what are the costs involved? So I think those are good learning grounds and exciting opportunities ahead.
That's great. Yeah, and we had a question too coming in from the audience around maybe a specific example from healthcare payer side of the equation. Sangha, you might have some of those since I know you sit at the hub of a lot of these inbound requests.
Yes. Couple actually, or more than that. ICD-10 code mapping. As we know, healthcare has its own language. There are the ICD codes, and mapping of those, and leveraging them to create a care program or to to issue a denial letter or claims processing. I think that is one area where we are seeing generative AI technologies. We have leveraged. Another is personalization. A lot of payers are looking at personalized patient outreach solutions leveraging generative AI. So on one hand, think of it as efficiencies to their core processes, which are manual intensive, labor intensive, require you wading through large data sets, large documents, structured, unstructured, the efficiency program. The other one is personalization and care and the experience. So on both sides, we are seeing payers wanting to leverage generative AI.
Well, there's clearly a ton of different use cases. It's great. I mean, I think like it's another tool in the toolkit, right, to look to solve really important business problems. And I think it actually gets to one of the other questions we had coming in a little bit too around okay, so this is great. This is really exciting. If I'm part of the AICoE team or want to be part of one in the future, what kind of certifications do I need, or what kind of learning development, right? And Sang, I know you and I have invested a lot of time thinking through AI Academy and how people sort of build and develop their skill sets. We can talk a little bit about that too, but Balaji, what's your take on this and how you've seen sort of people join the team, how they build on their skills? What do you think is the most important they should be working on?
Yeah, Jim, I mean, look, I think I've overstated this a little bit, but I think AI is leading to a convergence of traditional business and technologies teams like never before. I mean, it's becoming extremely important for these silos to break and for these teams to really engage together, right? Having said that, we do need the skills, the basic ML, data science, data engineering skills that we absolutely need. There's no taking away from that. With generative AI, there's also prompt engineering that's emerging as a very, very important and interesting topic. And I've seen a few initial trainings tee up on that topic too by some very, very big vendors. But I think it's not so much about certification in AI as it is about the ability to analyze and understand and engage and closely partner with our business partners and be able to drive execution, right? So we don't ask for any certification in AI yet when we hire people. So I think I would focus more on basic AI skills, ML skills, data science skills, analytical abilities, statistics. Fundamental math skills are very important if you want to be a data scientist. And essentially an open mind and the ability to change course, because this is a new field. We learn as we go. And many times we spend 3 months on a project and we understand, oh my God, this is not the right direction. We quickly change course. I think that kind of flexibility, adaptability will go a long way in ensuring success. So.
I love that. Sang, anything else you'd want to add? I know you spent a lot of time on this topic.
Yeah, you and I both, Jim. Come on. So the Deloitte AI Academy, for everybody to know, we are really taking this entire upskilling very, very seriously. So we are training our practitioners on many dimensions. If I were to pick 4, one would be prompt engineering, right? That is one key area. Which can be by domain, by function, by sector, by industry. The second one is, of course, the data science, the hardcore deep learning expertise that we are training with an orientation towards generative AI. The third one is data engineering. That's a very, very critical field as we are doing, generative AI engagements. And finally, I think our approach has been with, understanding and learning and getting very deeper into the large language models available in the market. So our preferred partners, our alliance partners, our technology partners, NVIDIA, Google, Microsoft OpenAI, and AWS Bedrock. Some more down the line, we are training our practitioners on the deeper and finer aspects of these large language models as well. So yes, I think the training and upskilling of our individuals is very key.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I love this concept of business and technology coming closer and closer together. I feel like when I started my consulting career, that's what I hoped to be able to do. And then maybe we're getting closer to that now, where we're going to have business and tech even more closer together as we work on projects and help solve these business problems. Super exciting. And I love the work that we're doing on the Academy too. I do feel like as you think about AI education, not forgetting about the human skills of analysis skills and relationship building skills, and the things that we do well as humans will help set us apart from the machines as we start to increase our algorithms' intelligence, which is great. So I wanted to sort of throw it back to the rest of the group here and see, we're nearing the end of our time. Wanted to see if we could get maybe a couple key takeaways from each of our panelists as we think about, the AICoE, the role it plays within organizations, and something you want to leave the audience with to remember. Maybe with that, I don't apologize. I'm going to start with you again and put you on the spot if that's all right, and then we'll go to Ambo and Sangha. Is that all right?
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've said enough about technology and business convergence. A couple of other things are, one, I think AI will touch every part of our work and every part of our business. I mean, it's going to be an omnipresent thing. It's just a matter of time as to what organization will adopt it when, right? So that's one thing, is that be prepared for AI to touch every part of the work we do. The second thing is the fact that on the technical side, compute and the cost of compute will gain a lot of prominence, especially with LLMs and the need to train LLMs, and everybody can't go to external LLMs all the time. We will have to start keeping some data in-house and start building LLMs internally. Cost of compute and investment in optimal forms of compute will take center stage. And those are probably two key takeaways apart from the technology convergence that we spoke about. So, Ambo, you want to?
No, absolutely. I think the couple of thoughts, takeaways for me. One, from the previous conversation on the whole interaction with business. One of our clients we're working with, and essentially exploring Gen AI to do the next campaign pitch. And the key question coming from their marketing organization is, when you're doing the top decile customer for next best action, what would that prompt look like? When you prompt them for the next best action, and this is the usual recency, frequency, monetary segmentation, and you look at the top decile, what would that prompt look like? And I don't know if there is a ready courseware for it, but what's interesting is when those business and technical teams interact, that is where the solution starts to emerge. And maybe we'll then bake it into something for the Academy Sangha in a future state. So that's
Delighted.
I guess the other one, and we probably get there in today's conversation, is essentially the cross-functional opportunities where the payoff is the highest. And one of the things that's emerging there is essentially the AI Council, or the role of the AI Council, or the SteerCo, in shaping those conversations where you have representation from cross-functional groups to kind of realize the next frontier of value, which is across the functions. Because very often what happens is the value goes where the workflow should be able to go between functions, and very often it gets caught within the function, and the true values for the enterprise is not realized. So that's the other one that's exciting and something to think about.
Yeah, I think that's great points, Balaji and Ambo. Two things I would add is the AICoE can drive, maximum value and evolve best. It will inform business strategy, and it will cater to core operations along the entire continuum of infra ops, data ops, cloud ops, ML ops, so that the outcomes from the AI investments are realized.
Those are awesome takeaways. Thank you, guys. I don't think I could do a fair job summarizing this conversation better than what you did. So excellent. Very much appreciate it. I think the one thing I would maybe summarize is a little bit of a thread that we've had across the three-part series. And when we talked about evergreen value in AI and data, we talked a lot about this concept of a data product. Well, now connecting that conversation back to the AI product, I think, is an important thread. And Balaji hit on it earlier in the conversation, so did Ambo and Sang, a little bit around, do we have the right infrastructure, the right data, the right capabilities within the function to be able to enable the AI product to be successful? So connecting that thread, I think, is super important across these two conversations. And then I want to link it back to part 2 of our series around the cost transformation piece. It's all about business value when we talk about these conversations. So where we're using AI and data, we're using them to drive business value and really transform an organization. So not just can I save some dollars on a cost perspective this year, but can I really rethink how we're going to be doing our work in the future? So really interesting kind of connection across all these three topics. And I really want to do a big thank you to this panel. I think you guys did an awesome job tackling a very fun subject. And I know it flew by, so maybe we'll try to regroup this team in a little while and see if we can figure out what's changing in the market 6 months down the road in terms of how these COEs are reshaping, reforming, and learning new lessons. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for listening and dropping in your great questions.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Artificial intelligence is taking humans to places we couldn't go before. That's what makes this the age of with. The next question is, where can humans take AI? AI is an ecosystem we all contribute to and benefit from. The next important insight could come from anywhere. And with so much happening so fast, this ecosystem needs a focal point. We created the Global Deloitte AI Institute to answer that need. What role can AI play in my business? How can we use AI in trustworthy and ethical ways? Why isn't there more diversity in the AI workforce? How does my AI career start? And where is AI going next? The Deloitte AI Institute is leading the global conversation on AI. We are connecting businesses, universities, think tanks, policymakers, and startups. We are highlighting today's visionaries, data scientists, and emerging trendsetters. From the boardroom to the college lab, the Deloitte AI Institute is bringing forth insights and using our deep knowledge of all aspects of AI to make sense of this complex ecosystem, cutting through all the hype and providing insights to help enterprises make informed AI decisions. I'm Beena Amanat. I'm the Executive Director at the Deloitte AI Institute, where we are not just preparing to meet the AI future, we are shaping it together. Join me online to find out more.